So much has been made of Will Campbell's arm length, but how does his tape measure up? Let's put on the All-22 and see if he's an option for the Jets at 7. Let's go. What is going on, everybody? It's Luke here from Play Like a Jet, and we're back in the film room with another All-22 breakdown, and today's a good one. We're going to evaluate left tackle out of LSU, Will Campbell, because there is a ton of conjecture around him. Can he play the tackle spot? Does he have to kick inside to guard? Are his arms actually 33 inches? Let's throw that out the window. What does the tape say about his play, and should he be an option in the top 10 for the Jets? Let's start with the positives. In pass protection, his hands are phenomenal. If he gets to your chest, that rep is over. A great example here to start against the Gamecocks. Number 66 and left tackle is Will Campbell. And look at him, just clamp, match and mirror. And that rep is an absolute annihilation. I love the way he gets this left hand in tight. He controls the chest, he controls the rep. But then look at him, just the inability to break away from the defensive end. He's got nowhere to go. Campbell is just like a vice. Finally he tries to spin out of it. Campbell's going to match and mirror. And that is just beautiful play. If he gets his hands inside, he is nasty. Yes, he doesn't have the longest arms in the world, but the hand strength, the grip strength, that is what wins a ton of reps for Will Campbell. And more of the same against Ole Miss this time. You're going to see number 66 at left tackle just go to work and win this rep with his hands. Now there's something a little bit different about this snap, and it's the aggression. Look at the punch here from Will Campbell. Bang! Just knock the defensive end back. Stop him in his tracks, and from there, we're going to introduce that right hand. We're going to grip, and we are going to clamp. He's got nowhere to go. He's run out of room. He's around the ring. He tries to spin out of it. Easy win for Campbell. Great aggression with that left hand punch, but once again, if he gets hands on you, the rep is likely finished. Just really, really dominant stuff from Campbell. But there are times where you don't win the initial battle. This rep's a great example. He gets knocked back by speed to power here. Look how he's stood up. He doesn't have great pad level, and he's lost the leverage battle. There's hands tight to his chest. This is where that ability to wrestle and your lower body sink really comes into it. Look how Campbell drops the anchor, reestablishes, and that torque through his midsection to just stand up the defensive end, reverse this rep, and now just march him backwards. What a great way to not just get a whitewash and to get a draw or a stalemate. This is another dominant rep, and even though it didn't start perfectly, his ability to get that left hand inside to re-establish his lower half is phenomenal. And once again, you can't break his grip. Really good stuff from Will Campbell. Has done it in a number of different ways, but all of these reps have been highly impressive. You've got to love his grip strength. And something we haven't even mentioned yet is how explosive Will Campbell is out of his stance and how well he travels in pass protection. As a result of that, people think he's a finesse player. There's no physicality or aggression. Here's a couple of snaps that show completely otherwise. Against Bama, linebacker coming at you straight in your chest. Campbell initially loses this battle at the point of attack. Long arm inside stab. We're moving backwards. We have not got control of the chest or the rep. But look how he counters. Attack the long arm, get that out of your chest, and throw that man on the ground. This is a big boy adjustment. You have to have the ability to overcome adversity in the trenches and just finish with some anger. He tries to spin, get on the ground. I love that from Will Campbell. Be physical, but even more than that, overcome other people's length. He's in your chest. We have to work around it, attack that long arm, and get it out of there. But it wasn't just that. I've circled him again. Will Campbell on this occasion fires out of his stance, and bang, look at the hands. Just smashes the defensive end straight in the chest. Look how that right leg almost buckles. He goes backwards. We're going to clamp. Right now, he's 6 yards away from the quarterback. He's throwing the football. He has to jump and try and get in the passing lane. What does Will Campbell do? We punish jumpers in this house. That is awesome stuff from Campbell. Throw that man, bury him, pancake in pass pro. It's about as good as it gets. You want to talk about the ability to get out of your stance, quick pass set, aggressive, stab and one-hand punch. We're going to clamp and we're going to finish. That's teaching tape right there. He's got some aggression in him. But now let's pivot to the biggest weakness that I saw on Will Campbell's tape in Pass Pro, and it had nothing to do with length. In fact, it was a propensity to be beaten to his inside shoulder. I saw it 4 or 5 times in the games that I watched. Great example against South Carolina. I've circled Campbell for you. Travels really well, smooth mover, but just gets beaten to his inside shoulder. This is dangerous. The quarterback's knee nearly gets blown out here. He is just destroyed by the defensive end. But it's like Will Campbell is just aiming for his landmark. He forgets that the rusher has the ability to counter to the inside. His hips don't open. He's a little bit tight with his movement skills. And that's a bad loss. If that happened once, it's not a disaster. But it was a reoccurring theme. From the same game even, here's Will Campbell losing to the inside from this rusher coming from a 7-tech position. And look, he does an okay job trying to recover and make sure the quarterback's protected. He gets the throw off, but it's a QB hit again. Travels really nicely. Look at these feet. We haven't really talked about it. Bang, bang, bang. So efficient. Great movement skills. Explodes out of his stance, but we can't be getting beaten to our inside shoulder. It leads to way too many easy pressures and also quick ones at that. But it wasn't even just against wide alignments. On this occasion against Ole Miss, you're going to see 4-tech head over Will Campbell, gets to the outside, big swim move, straight in our face. Yes, the quarterback gets this ball off. It doesn't go as a negative play or a sack or an interception, but this is a pretty disastrous rep from Will Campbell. 4 or 5 of them in the 5 games I watched, I just had a bit of an issue with them. But on top of that, yes, there were 1 or 2 examples where length did overwhelm him. Here's a moderate example of that, going back to that South Carolina game. Just gets inside, bit of a hump move, throws on the emergency anchor. Something he does well is if he loses the rep, it's very rarely disastrous, as we just mentioned. But you just see, when they got inside and they got to the chest and were able to extend and win that leverage battle and be longer and have that beautiful leverage, it caused him some issues for sure. But all in all, I really liked him in true pass situations. It's just going to be a question of, is the length a deal breaker? And I wanted to finish today's video by showing you how cerebral Campbell is. When teams threw stunts at him, he handled them with ease. These are 3 snaps from the second half against Ole Miss. Will Campbell just having heavy hands, locking up the tackle who's now sweeping, and it is a stonewall win for number 66. But as I mentioned, it was a theme. It was all over the tape. Heavy hands. Look how he just dispatches the defensive end, sends him inside, makes it so easy for his interior lineman. Heavy hands. And now watch the clamp on number 4. You want to talk about holding this man for 3 seconds until the end of the rep? The vice. You cannot break this kid's grip. It was my favorite part of his game, as we mentioned at the top of the video. But the head's on a swivel, the vision is great, and this is pretty rare in the college game to see these clean reps time after time. And there's one more to finish. Against Nolan, a really good player. It's just so well-rounded, the way he handles these stunts. Often you see tackles kind of just pass them inside. They're delicate. They're worried about handling the looper, the guy coming around the edge. He is so heavy-handed. As I mentioned, he makes his life so easy for his teammate at the left guard spot, and he always finishes these reps well with great hand utilization. Really good, head on a swivel, vision, cerebral football from Will Campbell. So there's what the tape said about Campbell. Really good footwork, elite hand utilization and ability to clamp the chest of defensive ends, but there were some issues getting beaten to the inside. Overall, if there were no arm length concerns, I'd say yes, I'm more than happy to add Will Campbell to my list of guys at 7. But that's going to be a factor. They measured at 33 inches at his pro day. Is that true? I'm not sure. I would consider him if I was the Jets. If they're happy that he's ticked their boxes, I think him and Membu are very similar players, and he'll do a job on the right side of the line for the New York Jets.